Okay, guys, so want to go over something about nutrition, the never-ending topic of nutrition. But I just want to give you an example of how to get all of your protein in on any given day. This is just an example, but I'm using myself as an example to prove the point. So if you've watched any of our other videos, you know that Pam and I we offer nutritional coaching as an add-on service to the clients that we're training. And one of the things that we do once we take in all of the factors, the physical characteristics of the client, activity levels, goals, all of that stuff, we come up with a calorie prescription. And that's going to match to the goals, and typically trying to lose weight or trim fat off. So we're going to set them in a little bit of a deficit. And then the other calculation that we're going to make is how much protein they should be eating. After we calculate those two things, the calories set at a bit of a deficit and the protein, which is going to be a pretty high protein diet, how they make up the balance of their calories from carbs and fats, we really kind of leave that up to them initially. After a while, if the needle isn't moving the way that we want, then maybe we start playing with the ratios of carbs and fats to see if they should be doing something a little bit different for their metabolism or whatever. But the most important thing is don't overeat the calories and always hit your protein number. Protein is by far the most important nutrient, the macronutrient to get, especially if you're an athlete of any kind. So this is just an example. So let's just say I've got a male athlete and I want this person to eat 200 grams of protein per day based on all of the calculations. That's not very far from what I eat. I actually eat more protein than that typically, but this is just an example and representative of how I eat every day. And as I spell these out, one of the things that I'm going to make clear is 4 of the 6 things or 3 of the 5 things that happen here are the same every single day. I try to make it relatively boring, but these are staples that I enjoy eating every day. I don't get tired of eating them. They're part of my habit. They're part of my routine. And it makes it simple if you can create, if you can make your diet as boring as possible while not feeling restrictive, okay? So as an example, trying to get 200 grams of protein per day. There's a protein bar that Pam and I truly enjoy. There's a lot of protein bars and meal replacement bars on the market that are either total junk, their ingredients are terrible, or their macronutrient makeup is not what we're after. We want something that's high protein, moderate fat, and low carb. And there's one out there that we like. If you want to know what it is, DM us or comment on this, and we're happy to tell you which one it is. But that protein bar gives me 20 grams of protein every day. We typically eat this in the morning because even though it's a protein bar, it doesn't sit in your stomach like a brick. It doesn't really fill you up, but it puts a little bit of something in your stomach. We don't actually start eating heavy until late mid-morning, sometimes even lunchtime. Somewhere else in the day, and I'll talk about the flexibility of this in a second, but somewhere else in the day, we have a full-fat Greek yogurt serving. There's a brand that we like, and that full-fat Greek yogurt serving gives me 15 grams of protein. We add a scoop of protein powder to that. That's going to give me another 25 grams of protein for a total of 40. Somewhere else in the day, maybe earlier, maybe later, I'm going to eat 6 whole eggs with a little bit of bacon as a side. The eggs are going to give me 36 grams of protein. The bacon is going to give me 4 to 6 grams of protein for another total of about 40. And then somewhere else in the day, probably lunchtime, I'm going to have about 7 ounces of meat. That's going to give me about 49 grams of protein. And then for dinner, I'm going to have another 7 ounces of meat. That's going to give me another 49 grams of protein for a total of 198. So this is just an example for 200. Like I said, I'm actually eating more protein than this. Typically, my lunch looks more like 6 ounces of meat, and then dinner is like 10 to 12 ounces of meat. We have a really, really big, high protein dinner to end the day. But this is just an example. And what we tell our clients is, as you build something like this, I don't care where the meals fall in. You can mix and match. There are plenty of times that this eggs and bacon seems like a breakfast. There are plenty of times that Pam and I eat this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There are other times that, like today, that was the second thing that we ate. We had our protein bar with coffee in the morning, and this was the second meal. Yogurt's going to come later, and then these other two high protein meals are going to come way later in the afternoon and then in the evening. Again, I didn't write anything on here about carbs and additional fats or anything like that. I don't care where you put those in, as long as your total calories for the day, you don't overeat, and as long as you hit your protein numbers. Dialing in specific ratios of carbs and fats, or maybe specific nutrient timing, that's something that we might play with down the road if we don't start hitting what we want with just the two main rules. Don't overeat the calories, always get your protein. Okay, but this is just an example. Don't know if it helps, think it might. Any questions, DM us, comment, and we're happy to help.